Hey everybody, the little pop-up video Tuesday night. Um, if you haven't done it already, I hope you'll go over to my Substack and read that. I just wrote a piece today. And also I hope you'll join Lena from Lena Down Under and me tomorrow night live, 6 p.m. Pacific, and that is 9 p.m. Eastern, where we will be doing our 360 worldview and just talking about the events of the day. But I just, there's really only a single issue that I wanted to look at tonight. Um, and it is sparked by the death of 16-year-old Juliana Nzita, Nzita, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she is only the latest in a string of um, deaths, which have been ruled suicides of Black people. We do not um, we do not unalive ourselves that way. I'm not saying that Black people don't unalive themselves, so please don't come for me and say that I'm saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we do not do it that way. And if you understand anything about the history, our history in this country, you would understand why that is the case. And yet we have seven people um, that whose deaths are deemed suicide. And I guess of course, I would love to know how they became unalived, obviously, right? But we know that there are bad people in the world. We know there are people who mean Black people no good. So that's not really so much my question. I don't think it's some sort of organized Klan uh, activity. I don't think you have to be in the Klan to be capable of something like this. But what I would like to know, and again, I have my own opinion, but nobody's asking my opinion. I would like to know what the cards have to say about why it is that these deaths are not on the front page of every newspaper, why they are not, um, you know, top headlines of every mainstream news source, because they're not. I get why Fox wouldn't do it. I get even why CBS wouldn't do it. But there are a lot of outlets beyond those, um, not just the audiovisual outlets, but there are print outlets as well. And it just seems to me that it speaks to the disposability of Black lives, the three-fifths human of Black lives. But that's just me. I would like to know why, if these were white people all of a sudden found hanging from trees, do you not think that that would be the felon would have the FBI, the CIA, and the whatever, the North Korean army trying to figure it out? So why? And so the card I'm going to use, I was going to use the tree, but I'm not going to. Well, yeah, no, I'm not going to use the tree, because in Lenormand, the tree is the card for health. Now, I could certainly say, for the purposes of this reading, the tree will stand for these hangings, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to um, call it what it is, which is violence against Black people. And and I'm going to use the scythe because that is the card for violence. So I would like to know, why has it not gotten more press? We, I've seen more press on Hayden Panettiere's death. Sad as that was, than I have about the fact that seven people all throughout the South have been hanging from trees. It is hard to be Black and not feel hunted. And I guess there are people who can intellectualize that, who can um, sort of put that in a box or say that we are exaggerating. I mean, I don't know how we're exaggerating. The facts are the facts. Why does nobody seem to care? Not on the kind of scale that they should. So, what's that all about, America? All right. So, we're going to look for the scythe and see what we get. Hmm, okay. That was just my tin box where I keep my cards tipping over. Okay, so this will be the card for those deaths, which I'm saying are murders. And I want to know why, why is the country not up in arms about them? Um, I will say that I saw someone post about it and saying, that there were these seven deaths. And then somebody underneath wrote, well, out of how many million? What? People are, well, I know that people have been given permission because of who to be ugly. So, okay, they're ugly, but why has the fourth estate, which is the press, not kept us informed about this? So I'm going to pull clarifiers, but this is what we have to start with. We have, oh, sorry, the birds, the fish, the scythe, the snake, and the young man. Interestingly, with the birds, this actually is the card for the press. Um, the second card is fish. I don't know. Is it not a sexy story? Is there not enough money in it? Because the fish could be money. Granted, fish is also emotion. We have the scythe in the middle, which stands for the deaths. I can mirror the fish with the snake. So, could it be that newsrooms or whatever are saying, well, we don't want to rile up people's emotions. We don't want the natives to get restless and riot or whatever it is, because I guess that's what they think we do. And then we have this young man card, which I can mirror with the birds, which is the card for the press. And it's not just young men that have been dying, it's women as well, not all of them young necessarily. But I think it has to do with how the press feels about Black people. Notice this is the younger card, which is to say, this is um, the more what he's more assertive. He's more his chin is up in the air. He's powerful and he's brave. And I guess that is intimidating to the press, Black people in general, right? Now, I'm going to pull more cards because I'm going to pull clarifiers on everything. So the birds, the fish, the scythe, The snake, the young man. And again, remember, we're looking at the press and really the public. Why has there not been a public outcry? Again, assuming people know about it. And that's why I go to the press, because that's where people will learn such things, right? So this is the card for the press. Clarifiers are the fox, the anchor, and the scales. So it seems to me that for the press, it is a strategic decision. The fox doesn't do anything by accident, by oversight, by happenstance. Everything the fox does is calculated. So it is calculated, a calculated decision to deep six this information, to not let it be front page news or headline stories. Uh, and I think that they are saying, we don't want to create a hysteria or a scare. Let's not let the natives get restless. That's what I think it is. Well, let's just tamp this down. It's just unconscionable. They wouldn't do it if the people were white. The fish is the card for emotion. And who do we have? The older man, the garden, and the house. I look forward to the day when this is not representative of the felon. But I will say that the felon, when it comes to emotion around this, the felon has created a climate amongst the public that caused people to feel quite at home ignoring this or making fun of these people in their deaths and saying things like, oh, it's only seven out of how many million? I mean, people feel comfortable. And that we can lay that at the felon's feet. Okay, in the center, we have the actual site, which is the deaths, bouquet, dog, and crossroads. Hmm. Remember the question, why has this not been brought to the forefront of national attention by the press? I mean, is it because it's just one too many things, and so we're trying to keep everything in a nice, neat package, tied up with a bow, because everything else is so bad? Do they think? I think they think they're helping. I think they think we're helping, which again speaks to our being sort of expendable, for the sake of what they would call the greater good, which they would see as white people's feelings, um, race relations. I love when people say that when you talk about race, you're being divisive. I mean, that implies that there's some sort of unity in the first place. So what does that mean, divisive, right? I think that they think they're helping because if more people knew about these deaths or felt some type of way about these deaths, it would create division. Division. But, back to the matter is it's really happening. It is evil. It is a message. I mean, this is not your run-of-the-mill homicides. This is hanging from trees. Maybe if you're American, you're not American, you don't get the significance of what that means. If you are American and you don't get the significance of what that means, then you are cultivating cluelessness. Um, these are not just deaths. They're um, it's a message. It's a message. And again, the climate that we're in has lent itself to this message, apparently feeling like, hey, we can send it. The ship and then the cross. So, to whatever extent we thought we were in a kumbaya moment, we're not. We're not. Stops that ship of progress dead in a really painful way. Here we have Black people in the young man, stork. So, to whatever extent we um, make progress in this country, which would be the stork, positive change, to whatever degree we make inroads, there are people, and I'm going to say that this is not just the Klan, but a, a big part of this country. When I say we're deciding what does it mean to be a more perfect union, we may not all have the same idea as to what that is. And I think that there are people who want to put us in our place. This is to make people small, scared, afraid, vulnerable. And this is the card for worry, anxiety, stress. Now, I will say I can mirror this worry, anxiety, and stress card, which is the mice, with the birds. And I'm sure that the press would argue, well, we don't know if these are all each isolated incidents. They're not. And we don't want to stir things up. That's what they say. That's what they'll say. But I think that's just a line. I think that's just a line. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to touch it. And that's to their shame. I mean, it's the same shame as the Congress bears for not taking you know who to task. So if this is who we decide we want to be, that's interesting information. Good to know. Um, really, really disturbing. On a happy note, I will say that it looks like uh, Angie Nixon in Florida is the projected winner of her race. And I think that's great. I projected that she would win. I read the cards and saw that she would win. And so that's terrific for Florida, as is Stephen, what's his name? Jolly. What's his first name? Um, David Jolly, I think, who also looks like he's going to win his race as well. So that's really good for Florida. Happy to see that. Um, but if you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about when I refer to these hanging deaths, um, I would advise you to do your due diligence, do your homework. Part of cultivated cluelessness would be to wait for me to break down for you the different states, what these people's names are, what the circumstances were, etc. And so that you can listen performatively and feel like since you listened, you did something. No, if you really want to not be cultivating cluelessness, you will do your due diligence and do your research about these deaths. Again, the latest one is Juliana Nzita, Nzita, 16 years old, hanged from a tree with her feet touching the ground. So, what's that about? I mean, all you have to do is watch, I don't know what, NCI, a little bit about physics, and that will tell you that's a homicide. But they, just like in Mississippi, they want to call that an unaliving, self-unaliving. So it's disturbing, and sorry, I'm not on here with some upbeat story. Um, but I'm not going to blow smoke on this channel. I never have. And when I think that there's something that really we need to take notice of and make noise about, I'm gonna bring that to your attention. So, please do your due diligence and ask the right questions. Why are we not hearing about this? Why is this not front page news? What message does that send? And does that help us move towards achieving a more perfect union? Because I would say no. Anyway, have a good rest of your Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow night with Lena. Again, that's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll probably talk about this and other things. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Take care.